1025 Common Era. A Chola ship battles a violent storm somewhere in the Bay of Bengal. Waves crash against the hull as imaginary Captain Aditya bites his lip hard while he shouts above the storm, "Hold the line, danger!" He trusts the vessel the way you trust a habit that has never betrayed you. By dawn, the storm finally loosens its grip. Light spills across the horizon and the route to Srivijaya reveals itself. In that moment, the truth settles in. The ocean was never a wall. It was a road willing to be taken. I'm Srivijaya and you are India's Golden Age podcast. Subscribe now. In the late 10th century, the Chola king Rajaraja I looked at a map the way a chess player looks at the board. Not asking what is here, asking what position do I need to be in 3 moves from now. And then he made the moves. Until under his rule, the Chola kingdom controlled the Coromandel coast and occasionally the Malabar as well. 2 shores facing the most valuable maritime corridor of the Indian Ocean. His first move was Sri Lanka, a major choke point between the 2 seas. Rajaraja captured the northern half and marked the conquest with the Shiva temple. Next came the Maldives, small coral islands to most observers, but to Rajaraja, toll booths. Arab merchant ships could not pass east without passing through them. He also built the Brihadiswara temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. When his son Rajendra inherited the throne, the boat was ready. One move remained, Srivijaya, the greatest naval expedition in medieval Asian history. In 1025 was not started by a king's ambition. It was started by a merchant guild's complaint, and what followed changed the map of the world. The influential Innuruvar guild approached the Chola court after years of growing conflict with Srivijaya. Their ships were seized and cargo confiscated. Traders who tried to bypass Srivijayan ports often lost everything. The guild was not simply a merchant group. They were a true multinational corporation 500 years before the East India Company was incorporated. They had their own military, the 3-leaf warriors, warriors first and merchants second. Their own flag, the bull of Shiva. Letters of charter from the Chola crown gave them judicial autonomy, tax exemptions, and protection of their roots. In return, they financed the navy. The state protected trade. Trade funded the state. Diplomacy added another dimension. At the court of the Song dynasty in China, a Shivajian invoice allegedly described the Cholas as vassals. For the Chola rulers, this was more than a trade dispute. It was a challenge to their political status in the wider Asian world. Trade, prestige, and strategy were beginning to converge against the Srivijayans. October 1025, Nagapattinam Harbour. Ships are loaded with rice, dried fish, weapons, and spare rigging. Medical teams prepare for disease. Priests travel with the fleet. Rajendra has no permanent navy. Merchant vessels are rebuilt into fighting ships with archer platforms, catapults, and reinforced hulls. Possibly many of the ships belong to the private navies of the guilds. Srivijaya waits as Kada for the attack. Rajendra sends a decoy there while the main fleet sails through the Sunda estate and strikes Palembang from the south. The city falls quickly. The king is captured and the palace gate is taken as tribute. This conquest was aided by a robust maritime intelligence system. The Chola guilds maintained agents across the Bay of Bengal. They knew the Srivijayan port, harbour depths, monsoon timing, which port commanders were open to negotiation. After the victory, the Chola fleet returns home. Captain Aditya stands at the stern, watching Sumatra dissolve into haze. The sea is not conquered, it is mastered. For almost 2 centuries, the Bay of Bengal moved to the rhythm set in Tamil Nadu. The principal written source for the 1025 campaign is a Tamil inscription carved at Tanjavur around 1030. It lists 14 places captured or raided. Read that list today and you're essentially unrolling the entire maritime spine of Southeast Asia. Archaeology helps further complete the picture. Chinese song ceramics appear in Tamil Nadu, while Tamil ceramics appear across Southeast Asia. Clearly, the Chola fleet and expedition carried more than soldiers. Priests, merchants, and artisans followed. Tamil temples appeared in Sumatra. Sanskrit entered the vocabulary of local courts. The Cholas understood one simple lesson: those who command the sea shaped the world. The 16th century belonged to the Portuguese at sea, or so they believed. Their ships were tall, their guns loud, their confidence immense. On the Malabar Coast, the Kunjali Marakkars saw the weakness in that confidence. The Kunjali Marakkars possessed no great ships. Their strength lay in small oared vessels with shallow drafts that moved quickly through the creeks and mangroves where Portuguese hulls could not follow. For 4 generations, they fought the same quiet war. They avoided direct battle with the Portuguese Navy and instead relied on timing and geography. When the wind dropped and the great sails went limp, the rowboats came out. One boat is nothing. 100 boats swarming from every direction in the dark is the end of an empire's confidence. For 80 years, they held the Malabar Coast. The British called them pirates. That is a compliment. It means they were winning. It's 17th century Maharashtra. At 27, Shivaji looked at the Konkan coastline and said,
I need a navy.
23 years later, he had close to 200 coastal war vessels. In 1657, Chhatrapati Shivaji faces enemies on our side. The Mughals push from the north, the Adil Shahis contest his territory, Portuguese ships patrol the waters, while the Siddhis control Janjira's island fortress. In the middle of these battles, Shivaji begins building ships. Shipyards appear along the coast, timber flows in, sailcloth is stitched, crews are trained. Shivaji proclaimed,
He who has the navy owns the sea.
6 centuries earlier, the Cholas had reached the same conclusion. Following Shivaji was a Marathi general, undefeated in every naval battle he fought. He bet the Portuguese, he bet the British. In 1721, he bet both of them together. Most Indians cannot tell you his name right now. From 1698 to 1729, Kanhoji Angre served as Sarkale, Grand Admiral of the Marathi fleet. In 3 decades at sea, he spent most of his career fighting European fleets successfully along the Konkan coast. In 1721, a joint English and Portuguese fleet sailed against him along the Konkan coast. The expedition was expected to crush Maratha resistance at sea. Instead, Angre forced the alliance into defeat. Many people assume the first Asian victory over European navy occurred during the Battle of Tsushima in 1905. The encounter of the Konkan coast happened nearly 2 centuries earlier. Angre also challenged European maritime authority directly through licenses known as Dastak and Call. He asserted an alternative to the Portuguese system, creating a parallel structure of control over trade. The British writers solved the embarrassment by again calling him a pirate, and over time the label did its work. In the 19th century, the Wadia family of Bombay became the master shipbuilders of the era, and their work was so highly regarded that the British Royal Navy commissioned them directly. HMS Trincomalee, launched in Bombay in 1817, is still afloat today, the oldest warship still floating anywhere in the world. Success bred resentment. London shipbuilders, unable to match the Indian quality, lobbied instead. Through navigation acts and related measures, Indian-built ships were effectively barred from British ports. A Wadia-built ship with Indian timber, Indian hands, Indian knowledge was legally barred from most profitable ports in the world. Not because it was inferior, precisely because it wasn't. Stand today in the flight deck of INS Vikrant. The Arabian Sea wind moves across a ship that stretches 262 meters and displaces 45,000 tons. It's India's first indigenous aircraft carrier designed and built at home. Commissioned in September 2022, Vikrant represents more than a modern warship. It reflects a maritime tradition returning to the surface. India's Act East policy is guided by the same geopolitics as the Cholas. The Malacca Strait still funnels trade between the Pacific and the Indian Ocean. The Bay of Bengal still carries ships across one of the busiest maritime highways on Earth. Today, India is expanding naval infrastructure in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, positioned close to the Malacca checkpoint. A minister of Indonesia, erstwhile Srivijaya, once made a revealing remark: Indonesia's nearest neighbor is not Malaysia, Australia. It is India. One Andaman island lies only a few kilometers away from Indonesia. The names of the powers change, the map does not. The long maritime memory of India is slowly returning. Empires march on land, civilizations sail. You're on India's Golden Age podcast. Subscribe, follow, and keep exploring. And step into my Golden Age Gupta universe through my upcoming novel, Dhruva Devi. Do you feel India is getting ready to rule the Indian Ocean again? Comment below. We'll meet you again on the next expedition. Stay curious. Bye for now. Jai Hind.